The time has come. Skyscanner America's Tour is nearly upon us, and today we are back at Scotland HQ having a catch up with Scotland head coach Gregor Townsend. We're doing a deep dive into the tour. We're previewing the matches, we're talking about the players, the uncapped players, and getting a real feel behind the scenes of what we can expect for the next few weeks.
We see this as a really exciting opportunity for young players too. That we invited them in when they were 18, 19-year-old to our sessions. 6'8",
no way.
125 kilograms.
I know.
Maybe I'll have a blank on wing or full back, and then I'll just say I'm going to announce this in the morning again. They'll be disappointed if they don't get 50 caps.
They'll be asking for a refund.
It's the game that they've brought that we believe in. It's bringing that out with an intensity and a willingness to work hard. That's all we want to see from them.
So a great opportunity to catch up with Gregor as he talked about the uncapped players.
Yeah, 10 uncapped in the tour squad of 37. It's a great opportunity for young players, but as we'll hear from Gregor as well, a good opportunity for the older players, a bit of experience. A couple of guys could make 50th caps. So yeah, there's an individual performance element of the tour, and there's a team performance, so getting everybody working together, and yeah, 37 man, big squad, and a lot to look forward to.
Do you remember your first tour?
It's too long ago.
Well, let's hear from the man himself as he talks about our 10 uncapped players. Why have you gone with the type of squad that you have in terms of the mix of youth and experience?
Yeah, well first and foremost, we want to make the most of this opportunity with the players that we have. We only get 3 campaigns in a season, and then that it's between 4 and 6 weeks you get to work with players. So we want to make sure that we take the learnings from our last campaign, the Six Nations, into this campaign, be a better team. So the core group of our Six Nations squad will be on tour. We see this as a really exciting opportunity for young players too that have either been on the fringes of our squad, maybe been in our squad and haven't played for us yet. And with 4 games, 4 or 5 weeks together, we think this is a great opportunity for them to experience a test environment. And it is an opportunity for a few players to get a rest. Now that might be because they've had a really long season, they've had injury niggles, or we're expecting them to have a really big year next year with the amount of internationals we have, the club demands, and a potential Lions tour at the end of it. So all those thoughts went into the squad selection we finally came to.
10 uncapped players. There's quite a few. I think we should maybe have
I've got
a look at some. I've got a list. I said it earlier on. I think fans of Scottish rugby will know quite a lot about most of them. There are 1 or 2 fresher names in there, but someday take the Glasgow Warriors one first up front to start with. Nathan McBeth played a lot for Glasgow this year, a loose head, as is Max Williamson, a really big performance. Gregor Brown's probably not played as much as injuries have, but in terms of Glasgow Warriors, who obviously having a tremendous season, these are players who've played a lot of minutes through the West.
Yeah, and they've been knocking on the door as well. I think Max, we'd always seen as someone with Alex Samuel, who's unfortunately injured for the tour, but they came through under 20s.
And been part of your training squads before.
Yeah, and I've been in. We invited them in when they were 18, 19-year-old to our sessions, and they came out and the summer tour, so in France for the World Cup. And Nathan McBeth, who has played regularly for Glasgow, whether it's off the bench or starting. So these players are used to pro level, used to the highest level at pro level. So the next step up will be an easier one for them.
And Will Hurd was meant to be part of the Six Nations squad, wasn't he? Just back in January, he was injured in the last play of the game, the week before.
Yes,
tight head.
An injury time.
An injury time. He played Scotland under 20s, obviously part of Leicester Tigers now, but he's someone, it's definitely deserves his space, and he'll be pushing in that tight head spot.
Yeah, and look, we saw how well Elliot Miller-Mills grabbed his opportunity this Six Nations. He was called in after Will got injured. And we've also seen how that experience for Elliot has given him even more confidence. He was he was having a great season for Northampton. He's then taken it to another level, and we're hoping the same happens with Will. I think Will was very disappointed to miss out. He was really looking forward to it, the Six Nations, but he's now got that opportunity on tour to work hard to win that first cap.
It's great to see Paddy Harrison as well. Patrick Harrison, there's something about him. He just really backs himself, that kid. Well, not anymore. It feels like he's still, but he's a previous breakthrough winner. He's just got, there's something about him.
Another try-scoring hooker.
Another try.
Yeah. And we've got really good depth at hooker. So Paddy, we've been very impressed with for Edinburgh this year. His impacts in the game have been excellent, but his fitness, his calmness as well has been great to see. And it was a difficult choice because we got guys like Gregor Hiddleston, Angus Fraser have played for Glasgow. I think there's a real good batch of young hookers coming through, and with Paddy and Robbie Smith, who is down playing at Northampton, ex-Scotland under-20 captain. We feel that we've got two players that can really kick on, but they'll be competing with others a similar age over the next few years in that jersey.
And will Dylan Richardson be a hooker, or is he back row?
Yeah.
He covers both, doesn't he?
Dylan we're seeing primarily as a hooker.
Yeah.
He played really well before he picked up an injury just around Six Nations time at Sharks. He came back now and played 3 games at the end of the season, 1 as hooker and two off the bench covering flanker. And we know with someone like Dylan, you can have the flexibility on a tour situation if he has to cover back row or go there during a game, but we do see him now as adding to our depth at hooker.
Ewan Johnson as well, going on to him for a wee second. Tell us a bit about him. He's playing in the top 14 at the moment, but a lot of fans might not be all that familiar with him.
Yeah, so Ewan played under 20s, must have been 4 years ago now. He was at Racing Academy. His parents moved to France when he was young, so he's been brought up in France. Been in a really good environment at Racing. Went to play Pro D2 level for a couple of years. And then this year at Oyonnax, he'd missed the first half of the season due to injury, but since then he's been a regular starter, played in a lot of big games against some very strong sides in France and stood out. He's a big
big,
man.
He's
6'8".
It's no way.
125 kilograms, and he moves well. And he's playing a competition against really big players. And yeah, we've been really impressed with him. Second row has always been a position over the last 10-15 years that we've produced players that have gone on to win a lot of caps for Scotland, some to go and play for the Lions, and we see real depth there. So these two uncapped players getting an opportunity with Max and Ewan is just adding depth to that position.
Switching to the backs for a second as well, Matt Curry, he was Edinburgh Rugby's breakthrough player of the season this year as well. He's been playing in and out of position and looked comfortable everywhere, so it's pleasing, and Edinburgh fans will be pleased to see that he's been included in your selection.
Yeah, and he was in South America last time we toured. We played Chile, and he was very good that day, and since then he's become a regular for Edinburgh. And I reckon the move to wing helped him this year. It just probably showed him appreciation of what the wingers are doing on the field, but he moved there and adapted really quickly, and he's came back into 13, which we see as the best position. Everyone talks about his work rate and how much he's willing to work for his teammates, both at Edinburgh and we've seen that in our environments when he's been with us. So that's a great attribute to have at any level, but especially test level. Like you're willing to work, put your body in the line, can bring you rewards, but more often than not, it's going to bring your teammates rewards as well.
Gasport, 9 as well, an uncapped player. Again, someone who's been involved in he went to school up in Scotland and involved the age grade stuff. Has done really well down at Sale Sharks. There's a lot of competition in that 9 berth, and he's played a lot for Sale, hasn't he?
It's been their first choice.
Over the last 18 months or so. So you've been impressed with him?
Yeah, we have, and we've been chatting to Gus for a while now, and he was close to our Six Nations squad, but obviously the players we have with Ali Price, who hasn't been considered for this summer. He didn't make that Six Nations squad, but we feel also his game's gone on another level since then. He's very consistent with his basic skills, and that's still the most important element you want to see in a 9, is getting the ball away quickly.
Especially as a test match player, isn't it?
Yeah, passing, accurate kicking. And I think just the amount of games he's playing at the highest level, you get better for playing. So yeah, we're looking forward to him joining us. Ben White, with some of the players we've not taken on tour, some of them are a little bit older, and a summer off will be great for them going into next season. Ben, just with the season he's had at Toulon and still playing,
it's not done yet.
And a couple injury niggles throughout the year, we felt it better for him just to take that rest, but it gives us an opportunity see Gus, to see George, and also Jamie Dobie get more game time at 9.
And the last one from the uncapped players there, Aaron Reid as well, going for sale and looking at that too, another winger on tour for you. And he said he didn't have to think twice about it.
I thought he was going on sale.
Transfer window, different sport. But he did say he didn't have to think hard at all when the opportunity came knocking for Scotland.
Yeah, and he's been great. He trained with
well,
us right throughout the Six Nations, and it's a difficult role to play when you get picked in a Six Nations squad. You're buzzing, you're excited by the opportunity. You love being there, but then when it comes to the 5th game and you've not had a chance to play, it must be tough. But we didn't see that with any of his actions. His body language was great. He really integrated well with the players. He's a lovely lad, and he has real point of difference in his game, which is his speed. And yeah, he's going to get opportunities in the summer to play for us. So he'll add a different dynamic to our back line. We've obviously missed having Darcy around. Darcy's still coming back from his injury, so we know that it would have been a risk to push him hard to get on tour. But I love the compliment we have. We had it with Darcy and Duan over the years, but now with Kyle, another muscular player, Aaron can give that compliment of someone being a bit different for the defence to handle.
I tell you what I'm looking forward to in this summer tour is seeing how Harry Patterson enjoys the prospect of selection, knowing that he's got more than 20 minutes to get his head around
but
it.
you know, that worked. Maybe
maybe
I'll have a blank on wing or full back, and then I'll just say, I'm going to announce this in the morning again. And if it's you, Harry, I know you'll do well, because he grabbed that opportunity last time.
I can't wait to hear how that plays out, because he said himself, I'm so glad I didn't have a week to think about it. He's that type of player.
I don't know if he told you the story, but I'd called him because I was back and forth with Kyle Stain, who was in Glasgow, and then it was getting closer to about 9 in the morning. I thought, okay, I better call Harry now, because this looks like Kyle's not going to make it back in time. So I phoned him, not expecting that it would be at breakfast, but I got the story back from players that were sitting at breakfast with him. He saw my name on the phone, took the phone call, just nodded his head a few times. I was telling him that you're likely now going to be starting later that afternoon. And then he switched the phone off, hung up on the call, and then looked at his breakfast, shook his head, and then went back to his bedroom. So
you're all right.
Luckily, he did half his breakfast by then. But no, what a debut he had, and he's someone that we love his mindset. He just plays fearlessly, and that can be seen with how he attacks, but also how he defends. So we're really hoping he gets luck with injuries and he can be available for us the whole tour.
He's got a great partnership with Ben Healy as well. They live together.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Fun fact.
It might have to be a bit of versatility back there as well, because would Harry and Kyle Rowe be listed mainly as full-backs initially?
Yeah, I think those two will be the ones that cover full-back. We know Hugh Jones has played there before. Stafford McDowell could play there, but we see both Kyle and Harry as the main cover at full-back. Yeah. And we haven't taken as many backs as we have forwards.
I'd have been raging if I was in that squad. Well, knowing that squad as a back. Too many forwards are taking over.
And look, I love flexibility in a back line. Matt Curry's played on the wing. Jamie Dobie's played on the wing too this year. So there's players that can move positions if required. But obviously I think we've got 15 backs, so that should be enough for the tour.
A couple of experienced ones you spoke about as well. Just Hugh Jones, 48 caps. Jamie Ritchie, 49 caps. So there was a couple that you mentioned on the earlier on that could reach landmarks, so they should reach. They'll be
disappointed if they don't get 50 caps on
this.
Well,
you never know.
Especially he'd be very gutted if he doesn't get it. But yeah, that's great. Like to be able to go away or to go on tour and that you're going to reward people for the first caps. It's going to be a special occasion for them and their families. But also those two players that are likely to get their 50th caps, that's going to be great experiences.
Jamie was named as Edinburgh Rugby's Player of the Season, and reflecting on that season, of course it has been a challenging one for him, but what are your thoughts on his journey at this point, where he is in his career, ahead of what is going to be his milestone 50th cap?
Yeah, I think he's back playing his best rugby again, which has been great to see. He really impressed us with how well he handled the disappointment of being in and out the team this Six Nations, of no longer being captain, the way he conducted himself off field, but also how he trained. It was a real credit to who he is as a person, but also how he's responded on the field, playing so well for Edinburgh in recent weeks, looking in his best shape physically of last few seasons has been really encouraging for not just his tour but the seasons to come.
Grit and grace. You mentioned Jamie Dobie as well. Seeing that sort of young talent that we're talking about coming through and getting an opportunity to build on the two caps, the opposite end of where we've been speaking with Jamie. What would you like to see from these young players, from guys like Jamie, in terms of taking that opportunity? Because getting test match experience is ultimately what's going to shape them as test match players.
Well, you want to see a similar thing from all of them, which is playing how they've played up until this point. You don't need to change anything. You've been selected for a reason. From what we see in you, you want to see them bring out their strengths too. Like, if we talk about Jamie, his strengths, one of his biggest strengths is his running game, and we want, if he gets that chance to play at 9, we want to see him bring out that running game. But they don't have to go searching for anything. Don't have to force it. It's the game that they've brought that we believe in. It's bringing that out with an intensity and a willingness to work hard. That's all we want to see from them.